There's a lot of sex advice out there that we hear so often that I think we start to assume that it must be true. But a lot of this wisdom tends to do more harm than good and can leave you feeling disconnected from yourself or from your partner, can create feelings of shame, and can even leave you feeling physically uncomfortable when you really don't need to. So let's talk about some of the most common pieces of bad sex advice that I hate to hear. We're going to talk about why they don't work and give you some better alternatives. Now, before we get into it, hey there, I'm Lauren Consul. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and certified sex therapist, here to help you have more satisfying and secure sex and relationships. Number one, don't have sex on the first date. And this is more for the cisgender heterosexual couples because it comes out of this double standard playbook that is usually directed towards women in particular, that if you have sex on the first date or have it too soon, then you're going to lose respect or you're never going to get a commitment. Like it's something that the woman is required to guard. Meanwhile, men aren't judged at all by this same rule. Now, having sex on the first date doesn't determine whether a relationship is going to last or not. Plenty of long-term relationships started with sex on day one or early on, and plenty of people who waited months still break up or have unhappy or unhealthy relationships. Now, if you want to wait, that is great. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. It's about what you want. That's what this should be about, not following a cultural script or what you think you should or shouldn't do. The real question is, do I feel ready? Am I doing this for me? Am I doing it because I feel pressured or because I'm trying to live up to some standard or something else? Now, sex on the first date can be amazing or not, and waiting can be amazing or not. The key is consent and clarity about what you want and why you're making decisions. Number two, think of your grandmother if you want to last longer. This one always makes me laugh a little bit because you start to think about your grandmother and how this would actually look during sex, and it just creates quite a scene in there. And on the surface, it kind of makes sense, like this quick fix, distract yourself with something unsexy so you don't get too aroused too quickly. And yeah, it might delay orgasm. It might help you not get aroused too quickly, but it can come at a cost because the problem is you are mentally checking out to last longer. And when you do that, you're disconnecting from your partner and from that whole experience because you're in your head thinking about something else that's not happening in this moment. You're not present anymore. You're in your head, not in your body. And once you do that, it can actually be harder to get back into the moment. So instead, what you want to do, if you're concerned about lasting longer, there's different strategies you can use to help and keep you present rather than bringing your grandma knitting into your sex life or whatever your grandmother does. So you can slow down the pace, you can change positions, you can focus on your breathing, or better yet, you can communicate with your partner. This can be a sexy thing or a vulnerable thing or a connecting thing. It doesn't have to be this thing like, hey, look, do this, and so it interrupts it. It can be a moment that you integrate and create more intimacy. So instead of pulling yourself out of the experience, I want you to look for ways to stay in it and while you're managing your arousal. That way you're present and you're connected and you can actually get more pleasure and joy out of the experience. Number three, you should douche before sex. And these are for our vulva vagina owners. And this one is really harmful because it not only preys on shame around the vagina, but can create some discomfort and other medical issues around it because the vagina is self-cleaning. It naturally maintains its own balance of bacteria and pH. And douching not only isn't necessary, it can be harmful because it can disrupt the natural balance and increase the risk of infection or irritation or discomfort. Now, vaginas have a natural scent and taste. That is normal. That is our human bodies. They are not supposed to smell like flowers or laundry detergent. And when we're told with this advice that they should, it reinforces the idea that the natural human body, particularly a woman's body, a woman's vagina, is dirty or unacceptable. So instead, now I do want to note, if you notice a strong or unusual odor, it could be a sign of infection. Smells are really important to us and signal things to us. So if you were noticing a smell that is different or really strong or potent in a way that is not typical for your body, that is something you want to check out with a healthcare provider. But otherwise, basic hygiene, like washing the vulva with warm water, is enough and what's best for your self-cleaning vagina. And for partners, if you are having sex with somebody with a vagina, instead of shaming their body, learn to appreciate and celebrate the reality of it. Sex is intimate and human, and we don't want it to be perfumed and manufactured. Number 4, never say no to sex from your husband, boyfriend, or male partner, because if you do, he'll get it from somewhere else. Now, this advice is usually for cisgender heterosexual relationships as well, and it's terrible because it is manipulative, it is based in fear, and it's incredibly damaging. It sends the message that men can't control themselves sexually, and that what a man wants is more important than what their female partner wants. And that's not a relationship. That's not a partnership to be having sex, and that's control. And saying yes when you want to say no disconnects you from your own body and your boundaries, and it can create resentment and hurt and emotional distance because it prioritizes one partner's needs consistently over the other and dismisses the other partners. So instead, healthy sex comes from mutual desire, and all people need to want to be there. We want enthusiastic consent. If you're not in the mood, that's okay. Part of intimacy is respecting that ebb and flow and communicating and collaborating for both partners' needs. Now, if you are in a long-term relationship where mismatched desires is an ongoing struggle, that is a really important thing to talk about and not force one person into a category or another, the higher desire or the lower desire. Neither is worse or better. They're just different, and you need to find ways to collaborate. And this can be a great reason to go to sex therapy, which I have a whole video on reasons to see a sex therapist. And this is a major one that couples come to see me for. Number 5, anal sex always hurts. Now, this stops a lot of people from exploring anal play at all, and it sets others up for painful experiences because they don't know any better and they just assume that it's supposed to hurt. But anal sex should not hurt. If it does, something is off, whether there's not enough lube because our anus is not a self-lubricating part of our body. You might be going too fast or skipping prep. So instead, use lots of lube, more than you think you should. Start slow, begin with external touch, small toys, fingers, and build up. Communicate constantly, and you want to stop if something hurts because anal sex can feel intense and the sensations are different. But intensity and different sensations are different than pain. Because pain is assigned to adjust, not something you should just expect or push through. Pleasure is possible when it's done with care. Now, this also doesn't mean that you have to engage in anal play if you don't want to, but if you want to, or you are engaging it and it hurts, that means something is not working. I'll wrap up the bad sex advice here, even though I could go on, and I will probably make another video because it really bothers me when I hear some of this bad sex advice because I see how it impacts people and relationships negatively, and we really need to challenge some of this common advice. So if you want more content on how to have more satisfying and secure sex in relationships, be sure to follow along and let me know what questions or comments you have down below.